Hospital Hallway is the latest exhibition at the Southern Alberta Art Gallery, running until January 31st. Sarah Ann Johnson joins us to tell about her exhibition. Tell us about Hospital Hallway, Sarah.
This is a piece. It's, well, I guess I got to give you a bit of the history first. So in the 1950s, my grandmother was suffering from postpartum depression, which back then it wasn't a thing. There was no diagnosis. So she sought help in Winnipeg. Wasn't getting any better. Someone suggested she check herself into the Allen Memorial Institute in Montreal to be treated by this renowned doctor, Dr. Ewan Cameron, who was apparently doing breakthrough research at the time. She went. She was involved with the hospital off and on as an inpatient, as an outpatient for around 3 years. And she just got so much worse. And they couldn't figure out why she got so much worse. And it wasn't until in the 1970s that my grandpa was reading the Sunday New York Times, and there was an expose on CIA funding. And he recognized some of the foundation names as having to do with her time at the hospital, and did some digging and found out that she wasn't being treated for her illness. She was in fact a test subject, a guinea pig for the MK Ultra experiments. So LSD shock treatment for long periods of sleep. So this, of course, damaged her. She thinks that it gave her brain damage. So she started a class action lawsuit against the CIA, which after all they did to her, she was still one, tough cookie. Started a class action lawsuit against the CIA. 7 other people came forward. They settled out of court the day after my mom gave her pretrial testimony. And my nan wanted her day in court, and she wanted a public apology, but everyone was getting old, and some people were on welfare, and the CIA would have kept appealing and changing the court date, and it just would have dragged on forever. And so there was a vote, and they voted to just take the money and end it. But it's the first time in history that the CIA gave money outside of the US, and it helped to change the laws in Canada, the psychiatric laws in Canada. So no one doctor has ultimate power, and patients now have rights. So it's a pretty important piece of Canadian history. But it's also a really important piece of my family history, and I make art about it every once in a while. I can't do it all the time because it's too hard on me. It's hard on my mom. It's hard on my whole family, but they're very supportive. But so I do it in every couple of years I'll make work about it. So this piece, Hospital Hallway, is it's about me trying to understand what someone would go through to lose themselves mentally, physically, and spiritually to an institution that means them harm.
Wow, that is very interesting. That's such an interesting family history, and probably something that a lot of people were going through at that time. But your grandma stepped up and really tried to make a difference. Maybe let's talk about, Sarah, how this piece has grown over time, and do you feel like maybe you've become more connected with your grandma's story through this piece?
Yes and no. Yes, because it gives me an excuse to sit my mom down and ask questions, which would be hard to do otherwise. I guess not hard to do, but just, when do you bring that stuff up? When, because it's hard stuff to bring up. So if there's a real reason for it, then I can sit her down and we can talk about it. But it's really strange making work about it because it's me and my imagination imagining. So, getting to hear the stories from my mother, that I feel brings me closer to my nan. She passed away when I was 14. But I don't know that making work does, because it's so abstracted. And that's something I really wrestle with, because I just don't have the memories of my nan. I have these memories of this work that I've made, and it's all my interpretation, and it's all abstracted and everything. So it's a sort of a weird thing to navigate. I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes absolute sense, yes. Thank you so much for joining us, Sarah. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Make sure to come and check out the exhibition. It's running until January 31st. That's Hospital Hallway.